Praise God. Greetings. Welcome to Choices. We're back again with you, and we want you to know Choices is a continuous program. As we look around in our own country, we ask ourselves, what is happening and what can we do? I'm saying to us, we can do something. Just don't say it is not my concern and stay away. As you understand your purpose on earth, let's fulfill our God-given mandate. In this problematic world in which we are living, the cry is for God's help. I want to encourage us, please, let's keep our eyes out and our ear in tune and be a blessing to our fellow human beings. Remember, we are our brother's keeper. Genesis chapter 4, verse 9. It's a principle emphasizing mutual responsibility, compassion, and the duty to support one another. Stay tuned with us and be blessed. God bless you, and God continue to bless beautiful Guyana. Thanks.
The last time we met, as we were engaging how our young people have been influenced, particularly in a negative fashion, we pointed out that part of the influence and why the influence would have been taking traction in a negative way is because of the existence of gaps. We talk about gaps in the family. For example, a family where there is no father who serves as a cover, who serves as a teacher, who serves as the ruler in the family, who brings ideas and brings transformation. Now, when that cover is missing, the family is open to chaos. Then you have gaps in agencies, gaps that are so designed to aid and to watch over young people so that they could become. So the school system, as a teacher, you can't say that this is not my child and therefore I'm not concerned. So if that is the attitude, there's a gap there. If you are a social worker, you can't say that you don't have the time and you resolve yourself into your office. You need to come out of your office and go on the road, go on the streets, hear what the feelings of people, go to homes and visit homes and so on. If you're in the hospital, you're a nurse, someone comes in who seems to be very young and pregnant, and you say, it's not my child, that's a gap. You leave the child like that. And I could go on and on and on in terms of these gaps. And I think what is important now is that in order for us to protect our young people and to bring some semblance of order, there must be a closing of these gaps. There must be a collaboration between the school, the hospital, the home and so on, because let's face it, sometimes the situation that exists in the context of the family might be dire, but it doesn't mean that the other nets that are out there shouldn't try to trap those children to make sure that they excel, to make sure that they become. We want to say also to young people that they must learn to talk, they must speak to people. I think sometimes we have this shame culture where we're going through things and people are not saying anything, and so you suffer at your own peril. And they must talk and people must listen. And to those who might be listening, we want to say that your duty is not to take advantage of our young people because they come and they confide in you, because there are people who are like that. Because you come and you confide, you sense the weakness in this person and you capitalize on the weakness. That is wicked. And so, we want to continue this discussion again, because our young people are being influenced in a very negative way from people from all walks of life. And therefore, we have to take on this responsibility and work together so that they could fulfill their purpose, gentlemen.
Dr. Hudson, I can't allow this to pass, but you touched an important chord when you talk about the fact that people who our young people confide in, they take advantage of them. There are instances, there are cases where persons whom the young people consider to be who they trust, persons who they embrace, sometimes outside of the home environment, because they find those persons are willing to listen to them and to not only share concerns, but also to provide solutions. And what we have found is that some of those very persons are the ones who take advantage of those young people. And so we cannot continue to carry on in such a way where our young people find solace in sharing information, expressing concerns, expressing hurt to people who they look up to in society, and those very people turn around and capitalize on those young. It's like, like you correctly said, it's diabolical wickedness on the part of those persons. And the other part of it, when you talk about collaboration, we must be so interested, adults I'm talking to here, parents I'm talking to here, people in prominent position in society, we must be so concerned for the well-being and the growth and the development of our young people that we cannot at this time stand on the fence and display that not only lackadaisical attitude but unconcerned. We must be so concerned for the development growth of our young people that we must, as it were, put our hands to the plow and seek to encourage them. I mean, they are valuable to society. This morning I was going through our Constitution, the 1980 Constitution, with some amendments that were done, I think, in 2016. And it spoke about the importance of our young people for the future development of this nation. And so if we don't harness them, if we don't encourage them, what are we bequeathing to the future generation? So the challenge, the charge, the encouragement is for all of us, all and sundry, to play that important role because the Constitution points out the importance of young people. So we have to play a role in encouraging them.
It is mind-boggling to think that the investment that we would have made, some of the progresses that we would have bragged about, is lost within a year, 5 years, 10 years, because nobody took time to fill the gap in a positive manner. What I've heard from my brothers so far is that the gap is never left unfilled. It's just that the gap sometimes is filled by wicked and diabolical people who are standing right on the side of the road, and forgive my term, on the side of the road, they're not far away, just across the street, who make themselves a listening ear to take advantage of vulnerabilities. We cannot allow our prized possessions to be destroyed in such a manner. Who fills the gap of influence in our community? And who should? Who fills the gap of vision, proper vision forming? Who fills that gap? Who fills the gap of integrity? Who fills the gap of growing pains and challenges? Who fills the gap of developing initiative? Who fills that gap? Will you trust the vagabond on the corner to do so? Who fills the gap of self-discipline? Who fills the gap of understanding timing and taking advantage of it? Who fills the gap of teamwork? Because without teamwork, the dream will never work. Who fills that gap? Who fills the gap of developing the right attitude? We all have feelings. All of us become moody at sometimes. But who fills the gap of developing the right attitude? Who fills that gap? Who fills the gap of understanding priority? What must be done now and what must be done later? Who fills that gap? Who fills the gap of developing proper relationships? I heard Dr. Hudson made a reference while we were chatting, and he told a man, you don't come in me yard and try to take anything from it without me knowing. Who fills that gap? Who fills that gap of developing quality relationships and taking responsibility and properly communicating your thoughts and ideas? And instead of being led, learn how to lead and lead well. Those are gaps that our young people are facing right now. And if this community doesn't become alert, awaken, and fill those gaps, someone with an evil intent will do so.
Dr. Sana, that's a lot of gaps you just talk about there, man. I mean, that sounds like a full-time job, and what better place to start an attempt to fill these gaps than the home, daddy and mommy, because of the nature of it, because of the magnitude of it. Yes, we thanking God that the safety nets in society will be around to, to help to undergird and to, follow through where necessary. But you, daddy, you, mommy, you must take a personal responsibility. This is my job. This is my children. I brought them into this world, so to speak. I have to do this. One of the things I really thank the Lord for my father about, is that he oftentimes tied desires to values. So as a child, I wanted to drive. He had vehicles around, and I'm saying, man, I want to drive. I want to drive. You know what he did? He said, okay, you want to drive? All right, I'll take you to drive, but you gotta wake up early in the morning. You gotta wake up I can carry at 5 o'clock. Hey, this is when I want to sleep, you know? So better believe it. I used to wake up at 4:45 and knock at his door, Daddy, Daddy. And he used to play a fast one a minute. He answering. You want to see, Daddy, Daddy. And then he would wake up and we would go at a particular spot and he would take me to drive. That's just one area. How about tying desires, to values, to motivate your children, motivate your family. The ball is in your court as daddy, as mommy. We got to do this thing, or else, like we're always saying, somebody's around the corner to fill the gap to provide the inspiration and the motivation. We got to do that. We got to.
Indeed.
In order to curb traffic violations and the road carnage, huge investment has been made, and we know about it. You drive around, you can see cameras that were installed. So persons who violate the traffic, any traffic violation, unknowingly you can find a warrant or a summons coming to your home calling you to attend court for some traffic violation. Now, our young people, the youths of tomorrow, they are more valuable. And we can put systems in place to address traffic violations. Then we also need to put systems in place to help our young people to be safe, whether in the home, in the community, at school, wherever they are. And so networking is important to address this situation. Our young people, they are exposed to so much. And all of us, we didn't born big, we grew. We went through a process of development. We were exposed to some of the same things that they were exposed to. But you know what helped to keep us in check? The neighbor, that elderly person around who looked out for us. But what we have now is persons who have become predators instead of protectors. And so we need to address that mindset that is before us. If a child is going afoul of the law, or they're violating their parents, the principles of the home, one should not be a predator and use the opportunity to take advantage of that child. One should be able to protect that child and point them in the right direction. And so it's not just about the children, it's about the mindset of the people who are there, who use the opportunity sometimes to groom those children, to prepare them for that time of slaughter. And we cannot sit idly by and accept that. And so I am saying, the same way we are making investment to address traffic violation, let us make the kind of investment that will see perpetrators being severely dealt with. It would send a message to the others so that they will desist from that kind of behavior.
Enforcement is important. We have laws, and so we're calling on those who have the power to enforce the laws, to enforce them, because a nation, communities, the innocent lives of persons is being impacted very significantly in the absence of enforcement. And so it's not just about having the laws, it's about enforcing them so that persons are held accountable for their actions that are not good. And I want to also make a call today. There are persons who are looking at this program and you have a passion, you have a desire as such to fill some of those gaps that we're describing. You have a passion, you have a call for children, for the vulnerable, for young people. We want to call on you to position yourself. Don't just be a person looking on from the sidelines. You see, with the gaps and the vacuum that it creates, if persons who are responsible and persons who have the passion and persons who have that God ordained anointing or gifting to work in this area don't step up, then the predators will run abundant. And so you and I should step up. You and I should answer the call to be a part of the solution. We need good men and women. We need persons who have the passion, who have the drive to step up and to position themselves to help to bring solutions to different areas that we have need of right now in this country. So I'm calling on you, if you're looking at this program and you don't like to see injustice, you don't like to see people being taken advantage of, then this is a call to you to step up, position yourself, join a movement, join a ministry support group, participate right where you are. It could start at the home level. It can start at the community level. All right, but let's not just stand by and watch on and think, oh, it's not my family, it's not my child, so it's not my business. No, every single child that is affected in this country or in your community by some evil is everybody in that community and in this nation's business. So we can play a role.
In the next
Indeed.
few minutes that remain, could somebody answer me, what do you do if you step in to fill a gap or to help, and that child or youth says, you're not me mother, you're not me father? What should you do in an environment like that? Should you abandon the process? Leave them alone? Declare that they will suffer the consequences of their ignorance?
I would suggest that that you persist. The thing about it with young people, sometimes the resistance that you get, it's really a search for validation. Sometimes the resistance that you get, and so that resistance could cloud your mind and want you to give up, because that's how they function. But really and truly what they're doing, they're searching for something. And I have seen it over and over again. I had an experience when I was regional education officer, where this young man led a gang and he was in the school and he fighting and so on. And when he came to the office, I sent for him and all of them come by. I said, I didn't want to see all of you, for I want to see the ringleader. And he came in and I asked him about his father, where his father, you mean got no father, you to do this? And you know, it's like if he wanted to start on me and so on. So I didn't bother him because remember now, I grew up in Warlock, so don't worry me. I've seen all kinds of behavior and so on, and I know sometimes what is behind that facade. And so he continued to perform and so on. And then I turned to him and I said, you know, you could be a good man and so on. And he had his hair, you know, the hair is no comb and all the hair sticking out all over and thing and so on. And I had an afro comb. In those days, my head wasn't shine like now. So I had an afro comb and I went into my bag. I took out the afro comb and I said, take this comb and I want to see you comb your hair because you're a good man. And I saw a smile cracked in that boy's face. And I said, I got him in, he smiled, right? And I said, you know, if he had given me a chance, I would have combed the hair for him. But I said, come, and he started a thing out here. And I said to him, here, what happened? I said, why you keep this comb? And every time you look at this comb, remember that you get it from a good man. And he smiled, and I no suspension all, and I sent him away and so on. So I'm saying that I'm answering the question, Dr. Sana, the issue of should you persist, and I'm saying to you persist. I also want to mention this because it's going to be my last comment. I also want to mention that we have to make sure that we combine human effort also with the God element, right? That it's not that we want to preach or I want to become spiritual. The Apostle Paul was very clear when he said, do not conform to this world, but be you. So what we need is a mind renewal. You see all those gaps that we mentioned, you know who are the fillers? The people whose minds would have been renewed. Because when you experience a mind renewal, your thinking is different, your modus operandi is different. I close my case.
Indeed.
Dr. Kezi.
As I pause to reflect on the question, Dr. Sano, we can't allow young people to just go idly by, even if they're in rebellion. The progression of any nation is heavily dependent on the next generation. If our seniors do not have the next generation to give the baton to, then definitely we've lost the race. And the nation will tumble because there's no one to continue the journey. And so it's important to understand that of the life cycle of a human being, the most difficult stage that is being considered is the one where we look at the youth into young adults. And the reason for that is because at that stage, persons are becoming more conscious of who they are. And so there's a quest for identity. Who do I represent? Yes, I carry the surname of either my father, in some instances of my mother, but who am I? I've had persons who said to me, don't refer to me as my surname. That's my father's name. I am, and they would say their first name. And it allowed me to understand that sometimes what we quote as rebellion, or sometimes what we quote as somebody being disrespectful, is just somebody who's searching for their rightful place within the space that has been granted to them. And so I suggest to us, instead of shunning them, let's be mentors for them. You may not be their parent, but you may be a teacher, or you may be a neighbor. As I reflect on different persons sharing their stories of growing up in a community, it was somebody in the community who spoke a different word to them that would have caused that transformation. So every time you see a young person who may make you want to believe that, you know what, I don't want to fight this battle anymore, remember that every fight that you chose not to fight, a good fight for that person, is you saying that I'm not fighting for my nation to continue. So remember, you don't have to carry a certain position in this life. As long as you're a human being and you understand that the next generation is important, you're older, you have an opportunity to serve. And I do like what my brothers have said before: do not abuse young people. Help us to find our rightful space to fulfill our purpose here in our country.
I would say, don't start with instruction. Responding to your question, Dr. Asana, it's a powerful question. Don't start with instruction. Start with care. Start with consistency and let it go from there. Lots of these young people, they want to see if you're going to stay because everybody would have left them, So once you are caring and you're consistent, you will find the doors at some point and you'll walk right through.
Ah, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. This is not the end of the conversation. No, the scripture says that God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. For God sent not his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. That's the gospel we present to you today. Youth Pastor Lemar Williams is going to close us off by wrapping up today's conversation. Lemar?
Thank you, Dr. Sano. And I love the scripture that you just quoted. For God so loved the world. And when we think about love, love is a choice. Love is that active effort we utilize to pursue not only our young people, but those who society would have rejected. And in Corinthians, we see love is kind and it is patient. It remembers no wrong. Sometimes we might offer help, they might reject it, but you can't remember that wrong because love remembers no wrong. It's not self-seeking. You can't go with a motive. Oh, I can take a picture with this person I help. Absolutely not. It is kind. It's not weak. So as we pursue those who society reject, let us understand love. The love that was extended to us by Jesus, that love that we're required to extend to every single person we interact with. And that love might be the very thing that grants you access into their lives to create meaningful change. This is Choices. See you next week. God bless you.
We thank you for joining us on Choices today. Remember, you can join us at First Assembly, LNP Durban Street, Workmanville, Georgetown, Guyana, for any of our special services. I'm Celicia on behalf of the set, reminding you that your whole life is the sum of your choices. God bless you.